appreciate thank you. Let's appreciate the team. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, like I said earlier, we had our next speaker waiting. I'm sure we've learned and gained a lot on listening to P1. Am I correct? Okay. So we could try to reach out to them and get details about it. Do we still have our next speaker? All right, we sincerely apologize, sir. Okay, the next speaker we're going to be listening to again on Zoom is David Ogunshola. David Ogunshola is an intersectionist, creating multi-sector brilliance expressed through tech, education, business, and faith. He is an innovation catalyst whose work inspires creativity and innovation, especially among young learners. A STEM education coach,
hello, sir, you will be online
entrepreneur,
now,
and an idea strategist. He is the co-founder of Brainy Hive Schools, founder of Dave Shook Webmasters, and founder of Early Founders Lab, formerly known as STEM Academy, Nigeria, as well as the author of Early Coding for Kids, Africa's first coding curriculum and textbook for primary and secondary schools, which is currently in use by children in about 5 countries. David is a speaker, trainer, and thought leader who speaks on multiple platforms, both nationally and internationally, on a variety of topics, and he mentors young career starters and professionals, guiding them on the journey of discovering maximum impact and achieving balanced success. He is married to Dr. Elizabeth Ogunshola, and together they live in Uyo. Please make welcome our next speaker, David Ogunshola. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
All right, thank you very much. So good afternoon, and it's my pleasure to be here. First of all, I apologize that I'm not there physically. I was supposed to be there in Uyo with you people physically, but just for some logistics issues, I'm unable to make it back to town. If I had to come in, I probably would have had to be either airborne or in transit at this time. So yeah, it's my pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for this invitation. And I intend to be very brief because I understand we're already short of time. So I'm just going to be speaking to you for the next few minutes on a topic, teachers and how important they are, or you all are, for Africa's future. And thank you for reading that bio, Chaijiro. I introduced myself in one statement as, I'm David, I used to be a software engineer, then I became a teacher. That's who I am. That's my easiest introduction. That I was in tech and I came back into education. I used to be a software engineer. Now I see myself more as a teacher. I'm probably in the midst of my talk, you're probably going to get to understand why I had to make that transition. But today I realized that the future of not just our nation, of our continent, is actually in the hands of teachers. People are going from education and trying to go into tech. Those of us in tech are thinking, how do we come back into education? There's something that some people are seeing, there's something some people are not seeing. But anyway, let's just get started. And why is this important? The quality of any nation is a reflection of the quality of its people. You can't have a nation operating at a higher level than the quality of its people. No nation can rise above the thinking capacity of its citizens. So the people who are in a nation make up the way that nation thinks. If today we are complaining about Nigeria for anything, it's simply a reflection of who we are. When we say a nation is a smart nation, what's happening? We're simply saying the people who live in that nation are smart people. When we say a nation is a poor nation, what are we saying? The people who live there are poor. Nigeria is a reflection of the people, not the trees and the roads and the cows and the donkeys. No, it's the people who determine what Nigeria is. Very important point to start with. Now, Africa is considered the poorest continent in the world, not because we lack resources. It's because our people are poor. And why are our people poor? It will surprise you to know that Africa is one of the richest places in the world. Most of the mineral resources, natural deposits are here on this continent. But our people have not acquired the capacity to convert problems to opportunities at scale. Yes, we have a few innovators coming out of Africa. We have people who are innovating. I mean, if you come to Nigeria, we have some of the very brilliant young founders in Nigeria who are building amazing technology that is transforming the world. But they are just exceptions. The majority of us as a continent, as a nation, we are poor. And why is that? Because we say every opportunity, every problem is an opportunity. But tell me one continent, or tell me one country, let me localize this into Nigeria. Tell me one country that has more problems than Nigeria. If our problems are opportunities, it means that we are a nation with the most amount of opportunity. Therefore, the problem is not that there's no opportunity for us. It's because we don't have the capacity. Our people at scale, I mean, on every street, in every corner, people have not been able to have that ability to convert problems to opportunities. And you know, the real problem is not even that. Our real problem is that we don't know our real problem. And so we are busy fighting symptoms instead of us addressing diseases. And I like to use analogy a lot. When you have malaria, you will feel headache. Headache is not your problem. Malaria is your problem. Panadol can cure headache. It does not cure malaria. So if you feel headache and you feel, oh, I have headache, and you keep taking Panadol, you will take Panadol, headache will go down, it will come back. You will take Panadol again, it will go down, it will come back. And you will remain in that cycle. The real disease is not addressed, but you are treating symptoms. And I think that's where we are as a nation. We are seriously fighting symptoms, things that are not a problem, but are symptoms. For example, poverty is not a problem. Poverty is a symptom of a real problem. So if you are saying that people are poor, don't give them money. In fact, there's a saying that if you share all the money in the world equally into everybody, give it 1 year, the monies will find themselves back in the same pockets, because poverty is not a problem. It's a symptom of something that is deficient. Unemployment is not a problem. People can't find jobs, no problem. That's what we think. And so government thinks, let's create more jobs. Government cannot solve the problem of unemployment, because unemployment is not a disease, it is a symptom. And so first things first, until we get to the root of our problems as a nation, we're going to be going around this cycle of, what do you call it now? Empower. What are you empowering? All the people that are currently empowered, where are they today? That cannot solve people's problem. We are busy fighting symptoms. At the heart of our problem is that we have a thinking problem as a country, in fact, as a continent. What do I mean by a thinking problem? Our schools and our educational systems across the continent promote memorization, remembering above thinking and creativity. Once you can remember what your teacher told you and give him back, they say you are educated, even if your mind does not work, even if you have never used your brain at all. So students are rated based on their ability to pass exam and not their skills or ability to solve problems. People graduate from school with first-class degrees and 2-1 degrees, yet they have never used their mind. That's why you're going to find somebody on the street saying, I'm a graduate, but I can't find a job for the last 3 years, 4 years. It simply tells you something is wrong somewhere. How can you be in this same Nigeria, 4 years, you can't find a job? Because in your mind, a job is that somebody gives you a chair, gives you a table, and tells you what to do. If that is your understanding of a job, there are no jobs, because nobody is telling anybody what to do again. We need a nation of people who are thinking, whose minds are activated, who can go on the streets and see problems and say, wow, this is an opportunity. I need to turn this problem into an opportunity, into a business, into a solution. And they're able to do that and create prosperity, not just for themselves, but for people. Until we solve that problem, we continue fighting unemployment. Right now, youth unemployment is about 57% in Nigeria. It is rising. And that number is not going to go down because people come out of schools and they have never used their minds for 1 day. And let me tell you the truth. They will look like they are not problem. You are the government to implement an environment where people can create jobs, people whose minds are expecting government to come and solve our problem. Unfortunately, sorry. The real heroes of Africa, they look like this. People, teachers, educators, these are the people who are going to change this country. Teachers and educators who will unlock the minds of the next generation and set Nigeria and Africa on a path to true greatness. Because the jobs that we are praying for are going to be created by people. Those people right now are in classrooms, are in schools, and their minds are not working. They are busy writing exam and passing exam. I mean, we have this unhealthy focus on WAEC, and exam passes. So what did you get? 9 A's. You go to the university. What did you get? First class. And the person comes out and say, I'm looking for work. I mean, it's an embarrassment to the nation that we are at that point. And until we can unlock the minds of our young people, guys, this nation is not going to see change. We will complain, we will pray, we will fast till the next 20 years. Nothing will change until people get to the point where they have the ability to think and they have the skills to create what they think about. So if I can imagine a solution that, oh, what if we take all the waste, all the garbage in you and do this with it? I can see the possibility and I have the skills and means to do that. Then that's when we even need these other guys who say, okay, now what is the environment looking like? So until this continent has people who think critically through problems, we're going nowhere. And this problem is the real problem, guys. And the only person who can solve this problem are educators, teachers. Now let's look at Nigeria. 50% of Nigerians are under the age of 17. Because 17 is the median age in the country. Half of this country are teenagers, meaning half of this country are in schools, primary and secondary schools. That's why you find 50% of this country. If you take it higher a bit, under the age of 30, 70% of this country, actually, as a continent entirely, the entire continent, the median age in Africa is 19. Average citizen of Africa is 19 years old. The average leader in Africa is 63 years old. Tells you that we are not even beginning to solve out. If we are focusing on adults, our solution is not there. If we're thinking of a better future for Nigeria, leave grown-ups. The solution is below. Those children in primary and secondary schools, they are the future. They are the key to prosperity for the future. The real place of influence is at the bottom of the table. And guess who has that power of influence? You and me, teachers. Be honest, our politicians don't even control that bottom because those people don't even vote. They don't even go. So the politicians are not even looking at them. All their politicians care about are votes. If you're not up to 18, they don't care about you. So, and the real influence is bottom, at below down there. So if we're going to make change, something has to go down there. But there's a bigger problem. You cannot give what you don't have. So if we are saying that teachers who are the influencers down there are the ones who can make a change in the people, you can make people to think. How can you teach somebody to think when you yourself have not started thinking? You can't teach somebody to use his mind when you have not ever used your mind, when you don't know how to use your mind. So this is where we need to start addressing the problem. And that's why I'm excited about this meeting, that I'm talking to the right audience. We are the ones, if anything is going to change, guys, we're not solution. Nobody is coming to help us. We are the ones who are going to wake up and help ourselves. How do we prepare children to have skills that me and you, we don't even realize that we don't have? Because the real problem of education, this is it. The big challenge of being a teacher is that you are preparing students for a world you cannot predict. So if you teach grade 5 students, they have 1 more year in primary school, 6 more years in high school, that's 7, and probably 4 more years in tertiary institution, that's 11. You are preparing them to be relevant in 11 years. And I can tell you for free, none of us sitting here can predict 11 years from now. That's even too far. We can't even tell what 5 years will look like. I like using this example. Who could have told us a few years ago that in this same way, you will sit down and tap your phone and a keke will come and meet you in your house? The pace of change is so fast that we can't predict the world our students are going to live in. Yet, we are the ones who have the responsibility to prepare them for that world. It's a very grave responsibility, and it's very scary when you think about it. That so many times we end up teaching these students things that will be irrelevant to them where they are going, because we're teaching them skills that are going to be expired in the next 2 years. This, for me, is where I think the main challenge of education is. Teachers who are teaching, but they themselves are not even, they can't survive in that world. And so if anything will change, before we focus on the students, we need to start talking to ourselves. We who are teachers, what do we do? Yes, the potential is in our hands. The power is in our hands to shape the future through our students. But how do we make that possible? I'm going to be sharing with you 5 steps to becoming a teacher with a difference, a teacher with influence, a teacher who is not just going to teach to fulfill all righteousness, but a teacher who has the capacity to build the future that we want to build through students. 5 things I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to be out of here now. Number 1, accept your calling. Understand that what you are doing as a teacher, it's a calling. Don't see teaching as a profession. Think that's a calling. Don't just teach for now. We run a school. I interview a lot of people for teachers, to become teachers. There's one thing that once I hear it, you're out. You know, people, somebody say, what did you study? Oh, I studied chemical engineering. What are you doing? I'm teaching for now. If you are teaching for now, you can't come near any of our institutions. We need to delete everybody teaching for now. So I'm teaching while I am looking for a job. You are the problem we have. So if you are here, you're teaching for now, we need to delete you from that entire profession, because the teaching profession is too sacred for people who are just doing it as a placeholder. I'm teaching, but I'm trying to become this. No, people are leaving careers to become teachers. It's a calling. It's not a job. If you're going to be one of those teachers who are going to shape the future, you need to get to the point to recognize that your profession is not just a job, it's a calling. It's recognize how important you are, that this world needs you. The future needs you. These children, the parents who are working hard as doctors, as bankers, why are they raising money to pay school fees so that their children can be prepared for the future? And who are they counting on? You. When they pay that school fees to the school and they put their child in class, that child ends up in your class. So when they tell themselves, my child is having a good education, who is their hope? You. They believe you are giving their child a good education. But the question is, are you? Do you even know what you are doing to their child? Are you just, okay, let's take this book, let's cover curriculum, they pass exam. Are you doing the same cycle? No. Recognize that what you are doing is a space that is a calling. That's number one. Number two is that you need to now start in world leaving behind. The world is moving at a fast pace. They said there's going to be more change in the next 20 years than in the last 200 years. The world is going to change more in 20 years forward than it changed in 200 years backward. So today is 2023. What's 20 years from now? 2043. The changes that will happen in the world between today and 2043 is more than all that happened between 1823 and today. Think of what happened in the last 200 years. The planes were invented, cars were invented, television, all the internet, all those inventions of 200 years. We're going to expect more in 20 years. So if you are thinking that that degree you got, that knowledge you acquired 4 years ago is what is going to stand you out and keep you relevant, I'm sorry. Very soon the world will leave you behind. There's a saying in my field, my first degree was in computer science. They say garbage in, garbage out. When you put rubbish in, all that will come out is rubbish. But I like to tweak that statement a little bit. It also means that when you put value in, you're going to get value out. And I like to play with that statement a bit further. Value that you don't put into a place, you cannot pull out of a place. So if you don't put in value in something, you can't get value out of it. As an individual, you can't expect to dispense value that you have not acquired first. So investing in your growth is going to be critical. And this is how it works. Very simple. The Bible says, give and it shall be given to you. Same measure, full measure, pressed down, shaken together. For the measure by which you give shall men give unto you. Now, this is it. The same measure with which you invest in yourself is the same measure by which people will come to take out of you. Because it's only value that has gone into you that can be taken out of you. So if the highest you've ever paid to invest in yourself in a training is 10,000 naira, can I shock you? Nobody will ever pay more than 10,000 naira to hear you or to get any value out of you. Same measure. The best you will get is pressed down, shaking together, maybe a few multiples of 10,000. So you're thinking, one day they will invite me and I will come and do on consulting or do something and they'll pay me 100,000. Excuse me, have you ever invested 100,000 in yourself? You see a workshop or a training, you say, it's too expensive, it's too expensive. And you know you have told yourself that you are not valuable enough to invest 100,000 naira knowledge in yourself. Some of you are thinking, I'm hoping that one day they'll pay me millions. Excuse me, nobody will pay you millions until you have invested value worth millions in yourself. So invest in your growth. You need to go all out, study, read, take trainings. When you find the teacher who is preparing for the future, you will know. Even when the training is free, come and attend, you are still doing, we know that this one has no plan to go anywhere with our life. Invest in your growth so the world does not leave you behind. Number 3, think beyond traditions. Some of you just believe that, I'm a teacher, my entire ministry and work is in the classroom. Excuse me, teachers are the future. Start thinking beyond the classroom. Start thinking that understand that your influence is global. Your influence is beyond that wall of your classroom. Your influence can transcend. So they say think out of the box. Some people say, in fact, delete the box, draw the box and throw the box away, because you really cannot, your influence is way bigger than the classroom. Start thinking beyond that box. Start thinking beyond that limitation. So start positioning yourself. Understand that what I have, people need it beyond the class I teach. People need my value beyond my school. Yes, I may be domiciled in a school, but my value can go beyond that school. My value can cross borders. My value can cross nations. My value is way bigger than that small box I'm living my life in. Start thinking beyond that level. Then number 4, start positioning for it. Start positioning for impact. But when I mean position is, be at the places where people can see. So you've understood your teaching profession is a calling. You've invested value in yourself, invested in your growth, and you've made your mind understand that this skill I have, I can serve thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of people with the same skill right from where I am. Now start positioning for it. Because like I always say, expert that nobody knows is that one expert. Professional that nobody knows is that one professional. You have value, but nobody knows that you have value. Who comes to that value? There's a well, but nobody knows there's a well there. People can be starving of thirst, but until they know that there's a well with water, and once they figure that there's a well with water, traffic comes there. Traffic goes in the direction of value. So begin to position. Some of you, when I mean position for impact, your social media needs to become an intentional tool, not for posting, hey, what's up? We are outside, Friday things or wedding things. Let social media become a tool for visibility, positioning for impact, so that when somebody is saying, oh, we need a teacher who can, I tell my teachers at Brainy Hive, I tell them, a time is coming in this nation where teachers are going to be paid more than bankers. They're going to be paid more than oil workers. They keep thinking I'm joking. We're getting there, because right now, people are looking for teachers who combine specialties that don't exist. You are thinking, I'm a math teacher. You know, positioning means, okay, what can I combine with my math? How can I use music to teach math? How can I use art to teach science? I mean, start thinking of combining things in a way that does not exist. That is positioning. And then last of them, as I close this meeting, become intentional about your legacy. Start asking yourself, what weight would my name carry when my name is mentioned in 10 years? And you have to start becoming intentional about it. Some of you think that you're just doing a job and all you're doing is to get paid. What you are doing, guys, is beyond a salary. What is why I said see it as a calling. Your teaching profession is beyond your salary. You are building a legacy. And when I say legacy, what do I mean? In 10 years' time, when your name is written on a file, does your name being on that file offer any advantage to the carrier of that file? When people hear your name, what do they think of? What do they, will a child say, I mean, have you seen people, I mean, recently I saw a video. This guy was graduating from a PhD in England. You know what he said on his speech? I think he was a valedictorian for that class. He had a PhD, a master's degree or something. He was speaking for that class. And guess what he said? He said, I remember in primary school, my teacher used to call me Olodo. This guy has finished PhD. He has not forgotten what his teacher used to tell him as a primary school child. I mean, that thing stayed with that boy for life. That is legacy. When he remembers that teacher, what does he think of? The woman that called me Olodo. Now think of yourself. Start becoming, when these kids think of me or remember my name in 10, 15 years, what will they remember? These are 5 tools that you will use to make an impact for yourself. And you realize that once you begin to think in this direction, the opportunities will begin to open up. You begin to see value in what you do. You begin to see that, oh man, I have a privilege that I have these 18 children for 1 year. I can pour myself out into them. I can invest in them. And this is a legacy I am building for myself. Teachers who think in that direction, guys, are the teachers who hold the future of Africa. Not our politicians, not the people who are carrying siren about. You have the influence. 50% of the population of this country are in your classrooms. You have that power. I hope that you're able to take that power and take that intentionality and go out and start making a difference. Starting tomorrow, start building your legacy. And lastly, as I leave, I just want to remember and thank you very much for the service you are doing, because to be honest, we owe you a debt of gratitude for the service you are doing, not just to our children, not just to the city, to the state, to the nation, but to the world at large. God bless you for your service. And remember, when these children think of you in the future, one thing they will say is that God bless teacher this, God bless teacher that. But they will say, that teacher, thank God I left her class. Be intentional about the legacy you want to leave. Thank you very much for your time. My name is David Ogunshola.